Hey everyone, Josh Hennig. Want to come at you with a quick conversation here, and I just finished my workout for the day, and I was getting ready to do a couple things, and I've been approached by a lot of people over the last month, and as a personal trainer, you get a lot of people who come up to you and ask you different questions, which is understandable. I'm more than willing to answer anybody's questions, whether it's nutrition or fitness related or lifestyle related, whatever it may be. I'm always open to talking to people. But the thing that really gets me a lot is I get a very similar toned conversation with a lot of people. And these are the same people who have been trying again and again to better their lives, be more healthy, whether they want to lose weight, they want to gain weight, they want to be stronger, they want to be leaner, whatever term or goal they may have, they come to me and they'll ask me questions. And when I give them the answers, it's not the answer they looked for, or it's not the answer they wanted to hear, or it's not the answer they expected. And the reason that is not because the answers I'm giving them are wrong, but because we live in a world that tells us constantly, if you do this for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 90 days or 60 days, you're going to get this result. And because we live in a microwave culture, we forget the concept of hard work. When I was 284 pounds, the first day I started working out again, I got up out of bed. I could barely do 5 push-ups. I could barely do 5 sit-ups. But I did it. And that was actually the only exercise I did that day in March of 2008. And over time, barring injuries, barring different life circumstances, I worked to the point where I, look and feel the way I do today. Because being healthy is not just how you look. It's how you feel. And it's a mental game more than a physical game. Your body's only going to follow as much as your mind is going to let you go. In order to take you from point A to point B, if your mind isn't committed to that journey, your body won't follow. And I make the analogy to a car. You can't get from point A to point B without a couple things. First of all, you got to turn the car on. You got to get the game started. You're not going to reach your goals, whether it's in fitness or in life or professionally, unless you take that first step, unless you turn that ignition on. The second thing is you have to have a game plan. You have to have a map set out so you know how to get from point A to point B. And the third thing is you have to have fuel in the tank. And I think that's another thing people don't understand. People get so wrapped up in, I got to eat healthy, or I got to cut this out and cut that out, without taking a step back and understanding that the fuel doesn't matter if you don't have a game plan or a map for that fuel to use. Food is fuel, and without a game plan, you're not going to get to where you want to go. And the problem is that a lot of people, when they come to someone like me, and I've had conversations about this with other people, whether when I was at the Arnold Expo out in Ohio in March, or in other places when I talk to people in the fitness industry or other trainers, and that is, there's a lot of times people come to you and say, hey, I need help. I would like your help. And I always tell them, hey, listen, how can I help you? Because I'm more than willing to help people. To me, being a personal trainer is more than just making a buck or making $1. It's about helping people ultimately. Because I know what it was like to be 284 pounds. I remember when I was very, very young, I gained about 40 pounds of muscle between the end of my 8th grade year and the beginning of my sophomore year of high school. And no matter what, whether I was losing weight or gaining muscle, or in times I've helped other people with their goals, the ultimate issue is that, are you committed to that game plan? And I kind of want to wrap this up and remind you, my 3 steps here. My 3 steps is 1, you got to get the game started. You got to make the commitment by turning that car on to go somewhere, and which is your journey. 2, you have to have a map. You have to have a game plan. And understand that from getting from point A to point B isn't going to happen in 3 weeks or even in 60 or 90 days, depending on how far you are from your goal. Sometimes if you're on a long journey, you have to have short-term goals and then have a long-term goal. Just like when you're driving very far, sometimes you may be like, all right, well, here's a point in the map that I know is halfway there. Here is a road sign, or here is a restaurant, or here is a pit stop that I'm going to hit, and I know I'm going to get there, and that's going to be the halfway point. So whatever game plan that you have to come up with, you have to understand what goes into the journey to get to your goal. And the third thing is, and I see some people, it's not about, I'm only going to have 300 calories or 800 calories, or I got to stay under 1,000 calories to get to my goal. That's deprivation. People who look a certain way, they didn't start out with that 800 or 1,000 calories to get down to that weight. They started up here and they moved their way down. So you have to understand that what you eat affects how your body responds to whatever your goal is. And you can't reach that goal unless you have the proper fuel. And lastly, I want to wrap up with, ladies, and I'm saying this as a guy, I love you, I want the best for you, but you are not going to help yourself by depriving yourself or hating yourself. The first step to bettering your body and your life and everything is to stop hating yourself and stop depriving yourself of things. You have to be balanced. You're not going to get the look and the feel that you want of your body unless you understand the value of what you already have. Unless you understand that you can't do and live a certain way unless you have certain things. You need a certain amount of food to get down to a certain weight. It's about the big three. You got to have the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, and the right amount of fat. It's a numbers game. It's not a food is bad game. Okay? You really have to stop looking at yourself and at food in such a negative manner. I've trained different women to either lose weight or gain weight. And, the first step is always, I tell them, is this really what you want? Are you really committed to doing this? And I've had people, they're all gung-ho at first, and then they kind of just tail off after a few weeks because they don't see the immediate result they were expecting. Even though I've been telling them throughout the process, ignore the scale. It's more, you are more than just a number on a scale. You are a person. The scale is just a subjective measurement, just like your height is a measurement. Just like your shoe size is a measurement. And I really encourage you, ladies, don't hate the process. Don't hate yourself. Don't deprive yourself of things. Because the more negativity that you fuel into your body, the less positive results you're going to get. Because if you don't treat the whole process as a positive experience and you don't treat yourself in a positive way, you're going to keep getting negative results. This is Josh Hennig. I appreciate you watching this video. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. And if you know anybody who really needs to hear what I just had to say, I'd appreciate it if you share it with them, whether it's on social media or just say, hey, Josh got this video. I'd appreciate it if you watch it. Because I think a lot of people lose sight of what it takes to reach a goal, whether it's in fitness, whether it's professionally. It's those 3 stages. It's getting the game started. It's getting the car started. It's having a map or having a plan to get from point A to point B. And understanding that it's going to be a journey. It's not going to happen immediately. And the third thing is you got to have the right fuel. Deprivation is a negative element. You have to put positive things, whether it's positive good food or whether it's positive good attitudes and mentalities in order to reach your goals. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.